In 2009, a grainy online video of a 47-year-old woman from Blackburn, Scotland, would break the internet in just 9 days. The video was not a music video produced by a major label or a carefully engineered trailer for a pop star's debut. Instead, it was a clip of Susan Boyle, a woman many had already written off before she even sang a note. The world had already decided she was a joke before she stepped on stage. Yet in 30 seconds, Susan Boyle became impossible to ignore. Her voice shattered expectations, and the viral video was watched over 100 million times within days. But as the world celebrated her, Susan found herself at a crossroads, facing a whirlwind of fame she wasn't prepared for. This is the story of how a woman who spent 47 years invisible suddenly found herself at the center of the world's attention. Growing up in Blackburn, a challenging childhood. Susan Boyle was born on April 1, 1961, in the quiet town of Blackburn, West Lothian, Scotland. As the youngest of 10 children born to Bridget and Patrick Boyle, Susan's early life was fraught with challenges. Her birth was complicated, and oxygen deprivation during delivery left her with mild brain damage. This detail, though significant, was often misunderstood by those around her, and it marked her childhood with difficulties in school. Susan struggled in ways that were hard for others to understand. She was often seen as difficult, slow, or odd. These labels stuck with her, and the cruelty of her peers left deep scars. Throughout her childhood, Susan was taunted with the nickname Susie Simple, a cruel reminder that she didn't fit into the categories others had created. Her school years were marked by loneliness, exclusion, and the painful sting of being misunderstood. Music as her escape. In the face of the cruelty of her peers, music became Susan's escape. From a young age, Susan could sing in a way that was pure and unrefined, but undeniably beautiful. Her voice, untouched by the harshness of the world, became her sanctuary. She sang in church, at home, and alone in the small bedroom of her council house in Blackburn. Music was her constant companion, providing comfort in a life that often felt isolating. It didn't demand anything from her but to be true, and for Susan, that was enough. Music didn't care that she was different. It welcomed her exactly as she was. This connection to music would remain with her throughout her life, even as the world around her failed to recognize her potential. It was a gift that Susan would rely on when she found the courage to share it with the world. Her mother, a constant support. While Susan faced ridicule and isolation, there was one constant in her life: her mother, Bridget. Bridget was a woman of deep Catholic faith and unshakable practicality. She was the anchor in Susan's life, the person who always believed in her, even when others didn't. It was Bridget who first encouraged Susan to sing in public, urging her to participate in local talent shows. Susan's early performances were often in small community halls, church basements, and pub nights where the crowd was more interested in their drinks than in the woman at the microphone. Despite the small audiences and the indifference of many, Bridget sat in the front row at every performance, silently cheering her on. Bridget's belief in Susan became the foundation of Susan's own self-belief. In a life that had little stability, her mother's encouragement was the bedrock on which Susan's dreams were built. The struggles of overlooked talent. In her 20s and 30s, Susan made several attempts to break into the entertainment industry. She applied to a performing arts program and recorded a demo tape in 1999, which she submitted to a well-known Scottish talent competition. She was rejected. Undeterred, she entered various local talent showcases and regional competitions, each time facing rejection, not with the dramatic cruelty of public humiliation, but with the slow, unyielding sting of being overlooked. Susan didn't fit the mold of what the entertainment industry expected. She was too old, too plain, too unconventional for the world that had very specific categories for success. Her talent, though undeniable, was overshadowed by these preconceptions. Each rejection forced her back into the quiet life of Blackburn, a place where she cared for her aging mother and continued to sing in small, local venues. The world, it seemed, wasn't ready to hear her. The final audition, Susan Boyle takes the stage. In the weeks leading up to her audition for Britain's Got Talent in April 2009, Susan Boyle had serious doubts. She had tried before and been rejected, and the memory of those failures weighed heavily on her. The thought of putting herself through another round of public rejection was almost too much to bear. Her mother, who who had always encouraged her to sing, was gone, leaving Susan to face the world alone. But there was one reason she couldn't walk away from the opportunity, a promise. She had promised her mother that she would try, not for fame or success, but simply for the chance to share her gift with the world. And so with a sense of resolve that came from that promise, Susan took the train to Glasgow, determined to audition one last time. The audition, from mockery to awe, the atmosphere at the Britain's Got Talent auditions was the same as it always was, chaotic, energetic, and filled with hopeful contestants. Susan stood among them, clutching her handbag and smiling politely at the younger, more polished contestants. They barely registered her presence, and the production crew approached her with the same skepticism they reserved for the older, less glamorous candidates. When the camera crew asked her about herself, Susan shared her story with surprising calm. She was 47, lived alone with her cat, and had always dreamed of being a professional singer. She said it all without self-consciousness, unaware that the world was already laughing at her. But when she stepped onto the stage and announced that she would sing "I Dreamed a Dream" from Les Miserables, the audience's mockery turned to astonishment. The viral sensation, a voice that stunned the world. When Susan Boyle opened her mouth to sing, everything changed. The audience's laughter stopped, and for a moment there was only silence. Her voice, powerful, pure, and unexpected, captured everyone's attention. The judges, who had expected a spectacle of embarrassment, were stunned into silence. Simon Cowell, known for his sharp judgment, was the first to lean forward, his skepticism replaced by genuine surprise. As Susan continued to sing, the audience rose to their feet in applause. By the time she finished the song, there were tears in the room, not out of politeness, but because her voice had reached into something deeply human, something they all recognized. In just 30 seconds, Susan Boyle had recalibrated the entire room, shattering preconceived notions and leaving the audience in awe. The unexpected price of fame. What followed was a whirlwind of attention. The audition clip was uploaded to YouTube, where it quickly went viral. Within 9 days, it had been watched over 100 million times. Susan Boyle's name was suddenly known around the world. But the fame that arrived so quickly came with a price. Susan, who had spent 47 years living quietly in Blackburn, was thrust into a global spotlight that she was not prepared for. The media descended on her home, and Susan was suddenly at the center of a story she had never asked for. Fame, in its most immediate form, had a way of stripping away her privacy and personal life. But despite the whirlwind, Susan remained grounded, never losing sight of the promise she made to her mother to try, to sing, and to share her gift with the world.